Hey,
Hi, Mary.
hey Haley, how are you?
I'm well. And how are you today?
I am doing good. How are you? You already answered that.
Good. I did. I'm ready to start our conversation.
All right, I'm recording right now, so whoever's joining, just know that you're going to be on the recording. So I'm just making sure everyone else's video is off, but you can ask questions in the chat function. And anyone that's watching can watch live as well on Facebook, on our Facebook page, Food for Thought Fridays. So you can watch both ways.
All right. Well, let's start with the introductions, and I'll go first. Um, if you didn't pick up, my name is Haley, and I'm a NTA certified functional nutritional therapy practitioner based in Southeast Michigan. My mission is to empower clients both locally and virtually to embrace the healing power of food. I help women who are ready to make better choices to support their health. Those who have tried various diets throughout the years with bouts of short-term success, but either find it difficult to maintain or not feeling like they thought they would once they reach their goals. If you can relate, I can help you. I take a food first approach to help uncover the root cause to help you discover the health you've been striving for. It doesn't have to be difficult, and it's not. I take a simple approach to difficult chronic conditions and get results my clients are looking for. Together, we work on incorporating nourishing foods into your diet, as well as a mindset and lifestyle change that support your overall health. I started the NTA in search for answers and found my purpose. Working with clients and collaborating with other practitioners, such as Mary, fills my heart with so much joy. It goes without saying I love what I do. And I'm so excited to be here today with Mary and you as we explore the microbiome.
Thank you. And I am Mary. I am a formerly exhausted mom who now helps other moms beat fatigue and get back to the lives that they love. My goal is to empower my community to take charge of their health, increase their quality of life, and to feel better. So we all deserve to be healthy and to live life to our fullest. You deserve it. Your family deserves it. Your generations to come deserves it as well. I know how exhausted and overwhelmed you are. There's so much information out there that we have to sift through. So that's why we're here. So let's get to business. I'm a mom as well, and I try to figure it out all on my own. After the birth of my children, I realized that my doctors couldn't provide the solutions I needed to keep myself and my family healthy. My children struggled with sensory processing and GI issues. I dealt with mysterious fatigue, brain fog, and autoimmune diseases, disease. I felt drained and helpless. No one had an explanation that made sense to me or just did not ever get to the root cause. And I was determined to solve my family's health problems that I built on my work as a graduate level science educator and began studying nutrition. So fast forward 12 years, I'm now a functional nutritional therapy practitioner like Haley, FNTP, that's what we put after our name. And I finally have answers. So no more fatigue, no more brain fog, no more missing out on my children's lives. There's an explanation for why you feel so tired, and it's not your fault. So the good news is that there are solutions, and it's time to get back to your family and to doing the things that you love. So just some housekeeping stuff. This presentation is for educational purposes only. It is not intended to diagnose, treat, or mitigate disease. Consult your healthcare professional about new dietary choices or supplements that may interact with any medication. And just a little, what would you call it? Just a little informational thing. We're going to be doing Restart in August. And if you're asking what Restart is, it is a 21-day gut restoration, perfect to go with today's presentation. It is a simple but extremely powerful program that focuses on real food. There are no pills, no powders, no prepackaged foods. This is not a direct sales company. This is our program that Haley and I teach together and also on our own. And it's a great experience. I do it myself. And best of all, you do not have to figure it out by yourself, and perfection is not required to join. We don't guarantee or promise a quick fix. However, Restart is a personal journey of self-discovery with tools you can use for a healthier lifetime. And we would love for you to see for yourself how Restart has changed the lives of thousands of participants around the world.
All right, so what are we going to talk about today? Well, we're going to go over what the microbiome is, benefits and indicators of a healthy microbiome, factors that impact the microbiome, and how to support the microbiome. And we're going to start off with a question. So next slide, please, Mary.
Yeah.
Did you feed your gut microbiome today? You may or may not know the answer to this, but if you follow along with this presentation, you will be able to answer this question at the end. So make sure you're listening. So what is a microbiome? The microbiome is a collection of microbes, which are tiny living microorganisms such as bacteria, fungi, and viruses. We have more microbial cells in our body than we do human cells. Yeah, you heard that correctly. In fact, microbial cells outnumber our human cells to a factor of 10 to 1. And for today's discussion, we're focusing on the gut microbiome specifically. And just like everything else, every microbiome is bio-individual. The composition of gut bugs can vary from person to person. Fun fact, your gut microbiome is constantly changing throughout your life and is affected by age, what foods you eat, and even where you live, surprisingly. The gut microbiome has many important roles. It controls blood sugar levels and cholesterol, fights off infections, boosts immune systems, and improves digestion and absorption of vitamins. It also influences weight, mood, and appetite. A healthy diversity of the right kind of microorganisms in the gut is one of the most fundamental aspects of good health. If our microbiome isn't happy, then our body isn't going to be happy either. This is why choosing foods that support and help the microbiome thrive is so important.
So here's a picture of some different, well, one particular ecosystem, a pond. What do these ecosystems and humans have in common? So first, what is an ecosystem? An ecosystem is a community of living organisms like plants, animals, and microbes that interact with each other and their environment. So this might take you back to elementary school or middle school, wherever you learn this. We usually think of larger ecosystems like grasslands, forests, deserts, aquatic ecosystems like fresh and salt water, etc. But we also have ecosystems all over our body. For example, we have it in our nose, we have it in our mouth, on our skin, we have vaginal ecosystems, you name it, it's all over our body. The one that we're going to be speaking about today specifically, you need a microscope to see it, and it's right in your belly. So we're going to be talking about the gut microbiome. And you might ask, why is it important that we learn about our gut microbiome? Well, imagine, as in the picture, a pond. Have you ever seen or smelled a dirty pond or a dirty lake? And it's usually covered in algae. There might be dead fish floating or no fish at all. It's really not something that you want to be around, right? And then also, like, for example, we see this little frog here. Imagine a healthy pond. There's lots of animals, insects, fish, they all live in harmony. The water is clear, no nasty smell, all is well. Our guts are not much different. A poor microbiome can be marked by lower bacterial diversity, which is not as many different things in there that we should be having. And that's also known as microbial imbalance, which you might have heard the word dysbiosis, or maybe you haven't, but you're going to hear it today. So an imbalanced gut microbiome has been associated with increased disease risk in many health conditions, including, and this is not all of them, atherosclerosis, eczema, acne, celiac disease, hypertension, inflammation, inflammatory bowel disease, insulin resistance, obesity, type 2 diabetes, asthma, depression, anxiety, and much, much more. So that might be like an overwhelming list to hear, but don't worry, we're going to go more into it. But before we go deeper into gut dysbiosis and imbalance, we are going to talk about indicators of a healthy microbiome. So how do you know if you have a healthy microbiome? for starters, my favorite topic, a daily poop is a symptom of your gut health. So this is the first thing we're going to discuss. And we've shown this before in other talks. This is something called a Bristol stool chart. This is a chart that we use to, when we're working with clients and we're, dissecting their food and mood journals. We're also looking at your stools. We want to see if you're going every day. And if you are going every day, we want to know what it looks like, because that gives us a clue as to how your gut is doing. So this is a free and easy way to see how your gut microbiome is doing just by looking at your stool. It's a general picture and it doesn't fully represent all of the colors and smells, but it gives a snapshot of what to mainly look for. Ideally, you would want to be in like a number 4, 3 to 4 range, and going at least once per day, up to 3 times, or after you eat a large meal. But the size and shape and color is not the whole picture. Do you know your transit time? What is transit test? Just by looking at the picture, some of you that might have kids or yourselves, if you don't chew well, it's a little funny picture. You see a little corn at the end, because sometimes corn will go right through you and you get to see it at the other side. So this transit test, you can be going a Bristol number 4 every day, but we want to know how long does it take to travel from your mouth all the way to the other end. So here is an easy and free test. This doesn't involve an expensive stool test. Here's one of the things you can eat is a corn on the cob, like a whole corn. And this is the only time I'm going to tell you not to fully chew something. We normally say, make sure you chew your food really well. But for the transit test, you want to just pretty much swallow the corn. You can also use dark quinoa. You can use sesame seeds if you don't have IBS or any other gastrointestinal issues. And what you're going to do is you're going to swallow the items. If you do sesame seeds that are white, I would say about like 1 or 2 whole tablespoons is adequate enough. You're going to record the time that you swallow, ingest the food, and then you're going to record the time of when you see it come out the other end. And that's going to give us an idea. So the ideal transit time, I'm sure you're all wondering, is approximately 24 hours from when you ate it to when it's gone out. If it's less than 18 hours, it may indicate that food is moving too quickly through your digestive tract for nutrients to be properly absorbed. If the transit time is more than 24 to 48 hours, or if you do not have regular daily bowel movements, this can indicate a toxic buildup or constipation and possible signs of dysbiosis. And yeah.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
So with my clients, when they do this, or the participants in Restart, some are really surprised how slow their transit time is.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, do you know, I mean, they may not have shared with you, but the longest transit time of either a client or a Restart participant? Do you know?
It was over 72 hours.
Yeah, mine was 6 days.
You or your participant?
Oh, sorry. So one of my clients was 6 days. And
Yeah.
we both were very shocked, but
for some people, it could be 25 days or 10 days, and it could be a little scary.
Yeah, and it's super interesting. So take the challenge, please.
Yes, that's what I wrote down. This is a challenge. This is going to be our challenge for this microbiome talk. Is I would love everyone to do a transit test. It's so easy. Just get a corn on the cob, or if you get corn in the can, I would say like half a can would be sufficient to do this test. And record the time that you ingest the food, record it when you first see it, and then record how long you see it until. So you might not get rid of it all in one, bowel movement.
Well, and if you want, let us know.
Yeah, let us know. I'm curious. Just because
it's a really odd request on my behalf, I'm sure.
I know it is kind of weird, but
it's very interesting. So
it's not weird for us. It's weird for you don't just go to to lunch with your friends and be like, hey guys, my transit test, blah, blah, blah. Unless you guys are really cool and whatever.
Like Mary and I,
Yeah.
If you're cool like Mary and I.
You can sit at our table. We'll talk about transit test. Just don't talk about it when I'm in the middle of eating something. But So if you are experiencing dysbiosis, whether your transit time is less than 18 hours or more than 24 to 48, or you're not going every day, then you might want to work with someone like Haley and I, or join our Restart class, because we will help you get through this. So now you have learned some free and simple tips and tricks to determine if yours is optimal or not. It is important to also understand why you want to have an optimal and healthy gut microbiome. So it's really important to understanding why you want to make sure you're top notch. So the benefits of a healthy microbiome. Why is it important? As Haley mentioned some of these before, here are some of the many benefits of a healthy microbiome. It helps control blood sugar. I'm not going to read from the slide, but I'm going to read from my notes. It controls blood sugar levels and cholesterol. It fights off infections, boosts your immune system, and improves digestion and absorption of vitamins. It also creates your microbiome, the bacteria creates vitamins in your gut. And they also create neurotransmitters. I'm sure everyone has heard that word. You might not understand exactly what they do, but the gut in your microbiome, they do create neurotransmitters, and I will go into that a little bit later. It also influences weight, mood, and your appetite. So you would like a healthy diversity of the right kinds of microorganisms in the gut. It is the most fundamental aspect of good health. And I'm sure many of us all have heard of Hippocrates. He is an ancient Greek physician who lived during Greece's classical period. And he's regarded as a father of medicine. And he is known to have been quoted to say, all disease begins in the gut. So this is something that's been known from many, many, many years ago. So this is important. And sometimes we have to be reminded and bring this up to the forefront because it's super important. Some major factors that affect our digestive microbiome include diet, stress. Stress, that can work in both ways. You can be affected by the stress in your microbiome that create chemicals that affect your mood, or you might be experiencing outside stress that affect your microbiome. So it can go one or two ways. Your exercise or lack thereof, pollution, pharmaceuticals and drugs. I'm just thinking about my son. He was getting febrile seizures. So the doctor told us, oh, give him Advil and Tylenol back to back whenever he gets sick. So as a good mom, I followed that, and that tore up his intestines. Even you take NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, they, on the warning, says they will mess up your intestines, and that's what I did. So I had to work with nutritionists and get his gut, which is pretty much what got me to learn more about it. But yeah, so pharmaceuticals and drugs can ruin your intestines and your microbiome. Chemicals on or around us, like beauty products and cleaning products, illnesses like COVID. They are known they test for it using in some tests, they can test for it in your feces, and it has been known to be spread in that way. COVID can cause leaky gut, does cause leaky gut, and it changes the amount of microbiomes in your intestines as well. And also your genes. So these factors lead to dysbiosis, which is an imbalance of your gut microbiome and can show up as, this is a list I just said before, Alzheimer's, acne, Parkinson's. Should I go through the whole list?
It's up to you. Yeah. And one thing that you don't have on there that's a little bit more relatable sometimes, like not relatable, but that doesn't have to be diagnosed, is brain fog.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, that's why I'm the bottom much more, because the list literally can go on and on. There's just so many things on here that is all stemming from the gut.
It's almost safe to say that most diseases stem from an imbalanced microbiome. So
yeah, like Hippocrates said, all disease.
He knew he was onto something.
He might not have had all the special equipment to all those things, but now all the studies, if you just go on Google Scholar or any place where you look up, scholar, actual studies, if you just type in microbiome and whatever disease you want to learn about, there's probably a study you can find on it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So it takes 2 blanks to shift your microbiome. Is it days, weeks, months, or years? Any guesses? Anybody?
I know
World
the
out there.
answer.
So if you guess 2 days, you are correct. Gut microbes are regularly purged and can even double in 1 hour. Rapid changes in the gut microbiome can happen within 24 to 48 hours. So that's good news.
There's hope. There's
There
hope.
is. Oh, yeah, yeah. So after all this depressing list of things here, the doom and gloom, Haley's going to bring you hope right now.
I am. So, how to support your microbiome? Now that Mary has beautifully explained both the benefits and indicators of a healthy microbiome, now let's discuss how to support the microbiome. Firstly, we want to make sure that we have a diverse diet. Diverse diets equal a diverse gut microbiome, which equals a healthier microbiome. Make sure you choose a variety of healthy foods, such as leafy vegetables, healthy fats, fermented foods, and sprouted grains to keep your microbiome happy. And in addition to eating a diverse diet, eating a diet that consists of high quality whole foods have been linked with beneficial bacteria and a diverse microbiome that thrives. I think it's important to mention here that pesticides and other chemicals cause havoc on the microbiome. So choosing organic and non-GMO products only benefit the gut microbiome. And lastly, getting plenty of fiber in your diet is essential. Ideally, you should get at least 25 grams or more of fiber each day. I think that's more of a starting point. I try to incorporate more fiber if I were you, but at least 25 grams, which is a lot if you look into it. Fiber is so important because it is broken down into short chain fatty acids. So why is short chain fatty acids so important? Short chain fatty acids have many health benefits. They keep the gut barrier healthy, stopping pathogens from coming in and out, and helps boost the immune system. They do also limit the growth of bad bacteria, which lowers the risk of chronic diseases, such as the ones that Mary was sharing earlier. So fiber-rich foods include fruits and vegetables, sprouted legumes, beans, nuts, seeds, and whole grains. All right, so if you're looking to support and nurture your gut microbiome, you should seed, feed, and weed. Easy enough to remember, right? So to start, you want to seed. This means that you're going to introduce good bacteria into your system by introducing probiotics, which are actual bacteria themselves, which can be taken as a supplement or consumed in fermented foods, which contain good bacteria like yogurt, kefir, and kombucha. Once you've introduced probiotics, the good bacteria, then you want to feed your gut microbiome. And you can do this by incorporating prebiotics into your diet, which are the fiber and nutrients in your diet that the bacteria eat, and the types of carbohydrates that cannot be digested. These types of food pass through your intestines undigested, so the good bacteria can feed on them. Examples include legumes, onions, garlic, asparagus, nuts, seeds, whole grains, and skins of fruits and vegetables. And finally, you're going to weed, which, by the way, does not require any gardening gloves, just so you know. You can accomplish this by limiting your sugar and junk food intake. It is important to be sure that we are not introducing foods that bad bacteria can thrive off of. So, just to reiterate, to nurture our microbiome, we want to seed by introducing probiotics, feed by incorporating prebiotics, and weed by limiting highly processed and sugary foods. Do this and you're on your way to a healthy, balanced microbiome. Now that we have talked about how to nurture our microbiome, let's look at some fermented foods or probiotics that we can obtain through our diet. Remember, probiotics are living microorganisms that are beneficial and can influence our gut by decreasing less beneficial bacteria and helping improve gut dysbiosis. Most of us are familiar with fermented foods like sauerkraut and yogurt, but also consider sourdough bread, raw apple cider vinegar, kimchi, probiotic pickles, kombucha and water kefir, yogurt and kefir, ideally from raw dairy. And you might be surprised to find out, I know I was, that cheddar cheese, Gouda, and feta cheese are a probiotic as well as cottage cheese. Now, I want to say when choosing cheese, look for the words organic, probiotic, or made from raw milk. Okay. And side note, while the probiotic content of fermented foods is reason enough for us to include them in our diets, fermentation also offers a number of other perks, like enhancing the bioavailability of nutrients. Just another reason to incorporate fermented food into your diet. And in addition to food-based probiotics, you can also incorporate probiotic supplements as well. In my practice, majority of the time, I recommend Microbiome Labs Mega Sporbiotic and HU58 to my clients. Mary, what do you have? What recommend? What GCPs? What do you recommend to your clients? I'll get it out here. Please.
For us, like probiotics?
Yeah, probiotics.
Like supplemental, or I mean the food here, yogurts. But as far as probiotics, it depends.
A supplement for a supplement.
Supplement, yeah, it depends on what they're dealing with. So if they have H. pylori, there's a supplement from microbiomes called PyloGuard, which seems to be working well. And even if you are not sure if you have it, you could still take it and it won't hurt. But I try to, seed naturally through foods. Off the top of my head, those are the two that come to mind.
Yeah, I definitely take a food first approach as well. But sometimes individuals need a little bit more support. So
yeah. The one thing I will say though is always start low and slow with probiotics, because when you're introducing them into your supplement schedule or your diet, if you take too much, you're going to get a really bad headache and some really bad die-off symptoms, which will make you tired, and you might think you're getting sick. So it's always good with any supplement, start really low, especially with probiotics, because you don't want to overwhelm your body and your intestines with a bunch of new bacteria that are just gonna, and then you might not take them, which will suck. So low and slow.
I agree. Now let's discuss feeding your microbiome, because eating a diet designed to support your microbiome may result in improved overall health. I would like to note that it is important to incorporate a variety of prebiotic foods into your diet. This is because limiting the variety limits the diversity in your gut microbiome. It could actually, and with this, it could actually lead to some beneficial bacterial colonies dying off, and we don't want that. So choose a variety of prebiotic foods to incorporate into your daily diet. Include foods such as garlic and onions, artichokes, leafy greens, cooked and cooled rice and potatoes, bananas and plantains, apples, mushrooms, cruciferous vegetables, chicory root, and extra virgin olive oil. This is not an exhaustive list. I encourage you to do your research on other prebiotic foods to incorporate into your diet. This way you will be sure that all beneficial gut bacteria have the ability to thrive.
Yeah, and one tip I would say is try to get foods that are in season, foods that are just different colors, and just, try something new. So this is another challenge, go and just try, if you haven't, if you don't have much variety in your vegetable drawer of your refrigerator, or you just don't eat that many different vegetables, just try one new vegetable either per week or every 2 weeks, just to incorporate something new. And you want to take care of your little bug, so it's kind of like a little gift to them and a gift to you, so look at it that way.
All right, now on to weeding your microbiome. This step should not be ignored or overlooked. Just as it is important to include pro and prebiotics into our diet to support beneficial bacteria, it is just as important that we do not introduce foods that bad bacteria thrive off of. Bad bacteria thrives off food that are highly processed, such as French fries, pasta, chips, fish crackers, white flour, fast food, and the list goes on and on and on. It is so important to avoid excess sugar as well. And these can be found, or that can be found in candy, cereals, sweetened juice, cookies, Pop-Tarts, donuts, fruit snacks, and soda. And don't be fooled by the sugar-free. Don't be and don't be fooled by sugar-free or diet foods, as they oftentimes contain artificial sweeteners, which is just as bad, or if not worse, in my opinion, on the microbiome. So to sum it up, we need to avoid a diet that consists of highly processed foods because they invite the yeasty beasties into the microbiome. You can see them peeking in there, which thrive and cause havoc in less diverse microbiome that has an overgrowth of bad bacteria. So avoid creating a yeasty beastie playground.
Oh yeah, which is exactly what we do with Restart. We give your body a chance to starve them to death, pretty much. Were you going to mention, like, I think when we don't eat certain foods, it can actually cause some good bacteria to become extinct in our gut.
I've already discussed that.
Okay.
I did mention it.
Okay. And I just realized I didn't bring up the whole antibiotic thing. I think I must have skipped something.
You did. Would you like to go ahead and go back to that?
Yeah, I'm gonna go back quickly because I feel like that's a really important part. Sorry, y'all. So just to go back to this slide really quickly. Something that's really important is that the gut controls, I wanted to go back to the immune system and the gut, because the gut controls the vast majority of our immune function. 80% of the immune tissues that are in your body lie in your gut. So the health of your microbiome affects your immune system, which is really important, especially nowadays. We're all concerned about all the new viruses floating around, and our kids are all going back to school soon. So this is the time we really want to focus on making sure that they have a good variety of gut microbiome in there, and that it's preparing them to be around a bunch of other people as they go back to school. And also, substances that are produced by the microbes in the digestive tract have a direct influence on our brains. So you might have heard this word 5-HTP. It's an amino acid. You might not have heard it, but I'll teach you about it now. It's an amino acid that your body naturally produces in your gut by your microbes. And your body uses it to produce something called serotonin. And I'm sure everyone has heard this word. You might not understand what it does, but it's a chemical messenger, also known as a hormone or a neurotransmitter. And it sends signals between your nerve cells that controls your mood and many other important functions of the body, including digestion and hunger and all those things. And having low serotonin levels are associated with depression, anxiety, sleep disorders, weight gain, and many other health problems. So if that hasn't blown your mind, this definitely blew my mind when I first heard it. Another thing is antibiotics. And I want to put this out there. I believe antibiotics are life-saving and they have a place and a time in our medical care. Unfortunately, they have been overused and misused. And I'm sure many of us that are watching probably have had it overused in our lifetime because, you know, I grew up with the doctor. Oh, you have a nasal infection. Here's another round of antibiotics. You have a cough. Here's some more stuff. And, you know, over time, every year, that's like an atomic bomb in your gut microbiome. And I have links to these studies, but studies have shown that for some people, it can take up to 2 years for your gut microbiome to be restored after taking antibiotics. That's huge. So if your gut microbiome changes for up to 2 years, imagine all the good chemicals that are not being produced. So think about this other study. Yeah.
And think about with that, how it wipes it out, right?
Yeah.
Think about all the kids that are on antibiotics multiple times during the year.
Yep. I have another study I'm going to mention.
Oh, I'm sorry. They don't have a key.
Yeah. So other studies have shown psychosis after antibiotic use, memory loss, insomnia. And some people might, right at this moment, be making connections like, hey, when did I take that? When was I starting to get depression? When did I stop sleeping? So you can look back in your medical records. I suggest everyone make a binder of all your doctor visits, all the drugs you've taken. I have this for all of my kids and myself in a 3-ring binder. And it's in like timeline order. So sometimes when you go back, you start making connections. Antibiotics in childhood, like Haley just brought up, have been linked with diseases including asthma, juvenile arthritis, type 1 diabetes, Crohn's disease, and mental illness. Scientists believe that these diseases are related to dysbiosis of the gut microbiome. And I have links to these studies if you want to see them. We're all evidence-based. So yeah, that's what I wanted to bring up that I forgot at the end. Did you want to add anything, Haley?
No, I never encourage our side talks on this. However, I want to say something. It's like when we live in a society, and I agree with you, Mary, that antibiotics has a purpose and a time and a place. However, I'm curious to see why we run to them so quickly, why we can't look outside of why are we experiencing something. And I hope that in the future that we don't always run to use antibiotics for whatever we're experiencing, that we look for more homeopathic ways to doing things. So that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, no, and I actually was having a conversation with a friend during my vacation, and she was telling me that in other countries, like her family's in one country where it's so easy to get antibiotics, and her aunt keeps it in the refrigerator, and whenever someone has one little symptom, antibiotics. So we create these antibiotic resistant strains in our gut, and then we have all this dysbiosis, and then it leads to all of these conditions, and there's no known reason or cure for them, when really it's all stemming back to our gut. And so all the things that Haley said about, what we should be eating to feed them, avoiding pesticides and, pesticides like on our food and eating organic. This is so important because, like I said, as kids are going back to school and, they're given a bunch of junk food at church and other places, it's not feeding the right, bacteria that we need to be feeding. We need to be feeding them these things.
Mm-hmm. And think about breakfast. Think about the breakfast foods that the majority of the children eat, because it's marketed. It's marketed as healthy, and it does really make me sad. And that's a topic for a different time for sure, and that because we could talk about that. But yeah, great information. So why don't we give a recap of what we talked about today?
Yes, ma'am. So that was a lot of information, and we have a lot more to give. We just wanted to go over the simplest parts of it as possible. But here's a quick review of the important things we learned. So we learned what a microbiome is, and an ecosystem, and how it compares with the ecosystem. We learned the indicators of a healthy microbiome. So we used the Bristol stool chart and transit time. So definitely do that. Look at your transit time. And if you want to tell us, fine. If you want to use it for your own information, even better. And if you need help, you know who to call. Benefits of a healthy microbiome. We learned the factors in a healthy microbiome, like the gut-brain axis, and how to support your microbiome through seed, feed, and weed.
So let me ask you the question again. Did you feed your gut microbiome? If your answer is no, fear not. It only takes 2 days to shift, and you now know what it takes to support a healthy, thriving microbiome. You got the tools, so use them. You know what to feed it, how to check transit time for free, might I add. Thank you, Mary. And what to look for. If after these tips and you are still dealing with these symptoms of dysbiosis, or if you just simply want extra support, Restart will help you. So now that you know diet is the biggest influence on the microbiome, it is also important to know that the population of microbes in the gut adapt quickly, or quite rapidly rather, to changes in the diet in a matter of few days to weeks. This is great news. And Restart can give you the tools you need to begin supporting your microbiome. Join Mary and I as we co-lead Restart classes starting August 4th and 5th. Sometimes I wonder why I agreed to let her move the slides, but
I like to
here
make
we are.
it busy. Keep you on your toes.
Yeah. So again, we're co-leading a restart class starting August 4th and 5th. We're offering 2 classes Thursday evenings at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard, 7:30 Central Time, and Friday mornings at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard and 10 a.m. Central Time. And registration closes July 31st. So that's in a couple days. So if you're interested, jump on it now. And you might still be asking, why join Restart? Well, let me ask you, is your weight creeping up? Do you have strong sugar hit cravings that you cannot ignore? Do you want to sleep deeper and think better? Do you want to boost your energy? Do you want to improve your health? Do you need guided support and accountability? If you answered yes to any of these questions, Restart will help. Restart will provide a foundation that will support you in reaching your health and wellness goals. Also, when you sign up to join next week for the next session, we will send you a Restart Cookbook so you can start incorporating some of the healthy recipes before class starts. It might be tight because class starts next week, but still. And if you're still wondering if Restart is right for you, it is. Everyone benefits from learning how to support their bodies. And please feel free to reach out to Mary and I with any questions you may have.
So here's what the Restart Cookbook looks like. It's a perfect companion with the Restart program, and we would love to work with all of you.
We would. We'd love to send you the cookbook.
Yes.
All right, so join us August 12th as we discuss healthy habits. Change cannot happen unless something changes. When we start creating habits that support our health, we get closer to achieving our health and wellness goals. Mark it on your calendars. You definitely don't want to miss this Food for Thought Friday conversation. All right.
And here's how you can reach us if you want to work with each of us, either of us individually, one-on-one. You can reach me at ideservehealth.com or email me at mary@ideservehealth.com.
Mary, won't you remind them of who you work with?
I work with everyone, but specifically if you are dealing with brain fog or fatigue, I love working with moms that want to just kind of get back to feeling normal again, but I'm open to whoever would like help.
All right, good. Well, I'm with Nourish the Root Cause, and I work with mainly women. I do work with men as well, but if you're looking to improve your health and you want to feel good in your body, I can help you. When you're ready, I will be here. I will be ready to help guide and support you along the health and wellness journey, give you the tools you need to feel empowered to do it on your own once you're ready. And so let me ask you, are you ready to love your body and experience what good health feels like?
Yeah.
If so, head over to my website at www.nourishtherootcause.com to book a discovery call to see if what I have to offer is right for you. And
I want to show some books that I highly recommend related to today's topic. So this book is for kids. It's written by a nurse practitioner and his wife, and it's called The Incredible Microbiome. You can find this on Amazon. I love it. I learned a lot from it myself, and the kids love it.
And how fun is it for kids? Like, right?
It's so, yeah, imagine like
encourage them to eat healthy. Yeah. I mean, this is beautiful. It's a great way to incorporate an education piece for maybe some picky kids too.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like kids want to know why, like, why should they eat whatever? And if they understand, and, you know, there's a lot of words in here, but you can just read the big words and keep it simple. And
I think I'm going to
understand a lot more than what would give them credit for.
I think this is going to be on, I'm giving that as Christmas gifts for my nieces and nephews.
That's a great idea.
I think so.
Also, here's another book by Dr. Perlmutter, The Brain Maker. He has a few books, but this one, he goes a lot into the microbiome, and you're going to just love the information that's here. You can follow him on Instagram. Also, if you're dealing with autoimmune diseases, it's also really good recipes in here. Obviously, it all ties back to the gut. So, but this gives really good lifestyle tips, because it's not only about our diet, it's about our lifestyle, like, and the things that we do, our mindset. Like, we're going to be talking about habits next week, but our mind plays a huge role in our gut. So this is a really good handbook for all that. And then this is, it's kind of thick. This is one of the first books I got. And when I started learning about how our gut affects every other thing. So it's called Gut and Psychology Syndrome by Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride. And you see here, it says allergies, autoimmune, arthritis, gut problems, fatigue, hormonal problems, neurological disease. I got this, I was learning more about like autism and how the gut affects that. If you're dealing with anybody that's not neurotypical or is having any neurological diseases, you need to read this book. This is awesome. I mean, all these resources would help, but this one in particular is really good. Yeah, and we also have Instagram, so you can follow us on Instagram too.
I thank you for the book recommendations. I always like that you include that. So thank you. I'm sure that our watchers, our audience, our audience,
Our people.
so much for being here today, Mary. And thank you to all those who joined us either live or on the replay. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. You can comment in the video, in the comment section as well. If you have a question about microbiome, even better, but it could be about anything if you so choose. And just remember that Mary is with I Deserve Health, and I'm with Nourish the Root Cause, and we are here for you if you need us.
Yes, we are. Thank you so much for joining.
Until next
time. Bye.
time.